Do we sometimes feel like we have to carry the weight of the world on our own shoulders? We put on a brave face, tackle every challenge by ourselves, and wear our struggles like a badge of honor. We tell ourselves that asking for help is a sign of weakness, that true strength means standing alone against the storm. But what if this belief, this pride, is the very thing holding us back? What if the greatest strength isn't in lifting the entire mountain, but in having the wisdom to let someone else help you lift a single stone? This is a story about discovering that kind of strength. In a small, quiet village, nestled among rolling green hills, lived a young carpenter named David. At just 23, his dreams were as vast as the landscape he gazed at every evening. His workshop was a humble little place at the edge of the village. The roof was partly broken, and his tools were old and worn, but his heart was overflowing with determination. From the first light of dawn until long after the sun had set, David worked, building chairs and tables for customers who haggled over every last coin. He earned just enough to get by, but every night, he'd sit by his window, looking out at the stars, and whisper to himself, "Someday, I'll have my own big furniture store. People will travel for miles just to buy my work." But dreams, as we all know, have a price. And reality was a relentless bill collector. Every time David managed to save a small amount, something would inevitably go wrong. A crucial tool would break, the leaky roof would get worse, or his mother would fall ill, requiring medicine he could barely afford. The other villagers didn't make it any easier. They'd often laugh at his grand ambitions. "David, you can't even afford good wood," they'd mock. "How are you going to build a big store?" Their words stung, cut deep. But they never managed to extinguish the fire of his belief. He held on to his dream with everything he had. One afternoon, a wise old merchant named Mr. Aziz, who was visiting the village, stopped by his shop. He was looking for someone to build a large, ornate dining table and wanted it within a week. For David, this was the biggest order he had ever received, a chance to finally prove himself. He accepted immediately, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. He poured all his skill and energy into the project, but just as he was about halfway through, disaster struck. He ran out of the specific wood he needed. When he went to buy more, he discovered the price had doubled overnight. He didn't have enough money. The deadline loomed, and for the first time, he felt a wave of despair wash over him. It felt like his dream was slipping through his fingers. That night, he sat in his silent workshop, staring at his father's old, worn-out tools. He felt completely lost, like he had hit a wall he couldn't break through. Then, he remembered his mother's gentle voice, a constant source of comfort in his life. He could almost hear her saying, "Every big thing, my son, begins with one small step. Just take the next step. Don't stop now." Her words echoed in his mind, rekindling a small flame of hope. He wasn't defeated yet, he just needed to find another way. The next morning, with newfound resolve, David packed up a few small, beautifully crafted chairs he had made in his spare time. He decided to take a risk. He would travel to the bustling city market and try to sell them. It was a huge gamble. If he failed to sell anything, he wouldn't even have enough money for the journey back home. He set up his small stall in a crowded corner of the market. Hours crawled by. People walked past, glanced at his work, and moved on without a second look. The sun beat down, and his hope began to fade. Just as he was about to pack up, a wealthy-looking lady stopped. She ran her hand over the smooth finish of a chair, her eyes lighting up with appreciation for the craftsmanship. She didn't just buy one, she bought everything he had. With a pocket full of money and a heart full of gratitude, David rushed to the lumberyard, bought the best wood he could find, and hurried back to his village. He worked tirelessly and finished the grand dining table just in time. When Mr. Aziz came to see it, he was speechless. The quality, the detail, the passion carved into the wood, it was more than he had hoped for. He not only paid David handsomely, but also gave him a piece of advice. "Young man, never let go of that fire inside you. Your hands create magic." Soon, word of David's incredible talent began to spread, carried by Mr. Aziz and other happy customers. His small workshop started getting busier, and then the opportunity of a lifetime arrived. A wealthy businessman from the city, having heard of David's skill, placed a massive order. 10 large dining tables, to be delivered in just 1 month. It was an impossible task for one person. It was more work than he had ever imagined, but the payment would be enough to finally build his dream store. Without a second thought, he said yes. He knew he couldn't afford any mistakes. To buy the highest quality wood for all 10 tables, he made a heart-wrenching decision. He sold his father's gold watch, his most treasured possession. With the materials secured, he began to work like a man possessed. He worked day and night, ignoring the sun and the moon. He skipped meals. He forgot about sleep. His workshop was filled with the constant sound of sawing and hammering. His hands became raw and blistered. His head throbbed with a constant, dull ache from exhaustion, but he refused to stop. He was determined to do it all himself. One evening, as he struggled to lift a heavy tabletop, his body gave out. He stumbled, and the wood crashed to the floor, narrowly missing his foot. He slumped against the wall, utterly defeated. Everything was falling apart. He was behind schedule, and his body was broken. At that moment, his mother walked in, carrying a small bowl of soup. She looked at his bleeding hands, his exhausted face, and the chaos of the workshop. She sat beside him and said softly, "Son, if you try to carry everything alone, you will break. Asking for help isn't a weakness, it's wisdom." Her words landed with the force of a revelation. All this time he had believed that his strength came from his independence, from his ability to endure alone. He thought admitting he needed help would mean he had failed. But looking at his mother Essa's loving eyes, he realized she was right. He was breaking, and his pride was the hammer. The next morning, David did the hardest thing he had ever done. He walked into the village square, swallowed his pride, and asked the very people who had once mocked him for help. He explained the situation, the impossible deadline, and his dream that was on the verge of collapse. He expected laughter, or at least a few "I told you so's." But to his astonishment, that's not what happened. The blacksmith offered to help with metal fittings. The farmer's sons offered their strong arms for lifting. The old tailor's wife organized meals for everyone. The villagers, seeing his genuine struggle and his humility, rallied around him. Together, they transformed his small workshop into a buzzing hive of activity. They worked as a team, laughing and sharing stories as they sanded, carved, and assembled. With so many hands working together, the impossible task became possible. They finished all 10 tables, and they were perfect. When the businessman arrived, he was thrilled, not just with the furniture, but with the spirit of community he witnessed. David earned more than enough to finally build his big furniture store, to expand his shop, and to hire the villagers who had helped him. He finally achieved his dream. But as he stood in front of his new, beautiful store, he knew he had gained something far more valuable than success. He had gained the wisdom that no dream is ever achieved alone. He learned that true strength isn't about refusing help. It's about building a community. It's not in doing everything yourself, but in knowing when to reach out your hand and when to accept a hand that is reaching for you. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that we hope will inspire you. We'll see you in the next video.